Welcome to your Friday, 6 a.m. Thanks for waking up with us here on News 8. I'm Eric Connors.
And I'm Netta Irampour. We're going to start off with your forecast, as we do, because, of course, it has all of us sweating. Meteorologist Evan Ronnie joining us.
I was like, why? Why start with the forecast?
I mean,
what do people need to know about
Because
this?
we're breaking records every single day?
Please break some news that this is going to end soon.
I know.
Almost going to be 100 in.
Almost 100
Look at
inland this
that.
afternoon. I mean,
Wild.
the deserts are going for 107 this afternoon. So it is going to be another very hot day across San Diego County. We expect to break more records this afternoon. We did so yesterday in many, many cities, about a dozen cities across the county, where we broke those afternoon high temperature records and also broke records for the entire month of March. 97 on average for our inland valleys, 93 for the mountains. A heat advisory will expire at 8 p.m. and an extreme heat warning stays in effect until Saturday at 8 p.m. And then we will be free of our heat-related alerts and ideally start to see a very minor cool down going into the weekend and early next week. I want to send things over to Vanessa Paz. Vanessa, I really like your like suit jacket today.
Oh, thank you. Honestly, it's very comfortable too, I must say. 6:01 is the time. All right, you heard Evan, the heat's still on repeat. Thankfully, you likely don't have to crank the ACs this morning. Completely different story for the evening commute. It's looking like Friday light out there for the most part. That was the 5 in both directions right at Oceanside Boulevard. And here's what it looks like as you make your way to and from the South Bay headed northbound towards North Park. Left side of your screen is the northbound drive as you exit National City headed towards the North Park area, Mission Valley via the 805. Right side is that southbound drive. No major issues. In fact, we're still at full freeway speeds on the 5 and the 15 coming in from the North County. Here's what it looks like coming in from the East County headed west. Speeds anywhere between 75, 80 miles per hour. So same deal if you're coming up from the South Bay, about 71 mile per hour speeds in from National City and Chula Vista. Back to you guys.
All right, Vanessa, thank you very much for that. And now this morning, San Diego police investigating a suspicious death in the Rolando Park area.
Yeah, a man was found dead inside of a home on Loma Alta Drive yesterday afternoon. News 8's Tori Apodaca live at the scene with everything we know here at this hour. Tori.
Hi, good morning. The San Diego Police Department says that it's still too soon to call this a homicide, but just within this past hour, I did speak with a neighbor of the man who was found dead, who says that that man was pretty private. He didn't know him all too well, and that neighbor actually checked his Ring doorbell camera to see if there was anything suspicious going on yesterday afternoon, and it didn't capture anything. But now you're taking a look at what that scene looked like last night as those investigators were going in and out of the house. But here's what we know. The San Diego Police Department says the ex-wife of the man who died called them Thursday just after 4 p.m. saying she found her 47-year-old ex-husband dead in his home. She went there after she wasn't able to reach him. The San Diego Police Department's homicide unit took over the investigation, but say that there was no immediate evidence showing that the Hispanic man was murdered. And that's why they aren't naming any suspects at this time.
Was a significant amount of trauma to his head, but we don't know what created that trauma. We don't know what instrument caused it. Again, working with the medical examiner's office, I think we'll get some more answers to those questions.
Yeah, and police say that they also will continue to conduct interviews with neighbors or anyone who may know anything about what happened out here yesterday. At this point, they are not identifying that man yet, as they are still notifying his family. Of course, we will continue to keep you updated as we learn more. Reporting from Rolando Park, Tori Apodaca, News 8.
Tori, thanks for the update there this morning. There's a new effort underway to rename the holiday currently known as Cesar Chavez Day.
This comes as we've seen changes made all around the state, including right here in San Diego. Of course, that name in so many spots.
Right.
News 8's Chris Groh live in studio to explain the action a county supervisor will be taking. Chris.
Yeah, obviously all of this happening because of the allegations that were uncovered there in that New York Times report, that explosive story that came out. Supervisor Paloma Aguirre, responding here, has officially announced that she will be doing a couple of things here, filing a motion, submitting a board letter that will do a number of things if approved by the board. First, it would direct the staff to rename the county holiday of Cesar Chavez Day as Farm Workers Day. And they would also finalize a resolution calling on the federal government and state to rename that holiday. Now, we are already seeing institutions and municipalities make changes like Cal State San Marcos.
Very good job at communicating with us, being very intentional with our concerns and thoughts.
I hope that it results in systematic change, but at least it's saying it's not okay. And we can talk and we don't have to carry that intolerable burden for the rest of our lives.
Yeah, you see there on campus, the statue of Cesar Chavez has been covered up. You can still see Si Se Puede there at the bottom, but students and staff will now see that boxed up blue tarp. They will then get together to decide on what will replace the statue. The decision for immediate action was well received. At Southwestern College, as you saw there, an annual breakfast and flag raising ceremony was canceled. A student sent us that photo showing his name being removed from outside a building. In Barrio Logan, the community college district may rename Cesar Chavez campus. And at the state level, of course, California lawmakers, Governor Gavin Newsom, discussing renaming Cesar Chavez Day, which is March 31st, to Farm Workers Day. Now, county supervisors will vote on that motion from Aguirre next Tuesday. For now, we'll send things back to you, Eric.
Well, the FCC and Department of Justice have approved Nexstar Media Group's $6.2 billion acquisition of broadcaster Tegna, which is our parent company. Nexstar announced it closed the acquisition yesterday. This came after the approval of the transaction by federal agencies. CBS 8 is owned by Tegna, KUSI, and Fox 5 are owned by Nexstar.
At the direction of President Trump, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says Israel will hold off on further attacks on Iranian gas facilities. An earlier Israeli strike on Iran's South Pars gas field prompted a retaliatory attack on the world's largest liquefied natural gas plant in Qatar, a U.S. ally. Meanwhile, as the war closes in on its third week, the Pentagon is seeking $200 billion in additional funding to support the military campaign. Gas prices jumped 4 cents overnight. Look at this, because of the war on Iran. According to AAA, the average price in San Diego County now $5.73 for a gallon of regular. A month ago, we were paying $4.63. If you do need help trying to find the least expensive gas, we're working for you. Text the word gas to the number on your screen, 858-571-8888. We'll send you a link to a map with the lowest prices near you.
And we do have a quick programming note for you here. You can watch our 11 a.m. and noon newscast today on the CBS 8 app. March Madness games will be airing on CBS 8 during that time. As the madness continues, there were some upsets and a lot of big games happening here today, including the UCSD Tritons women's team playing at 9 a.m., the only San Diego team to get into March Madness. So looking forward to that.
Okay, let's talk now about what's going on with this bright-colored map.
Yeah, I mean,
too much brightness.
All week, Evan.
it's like, how do you phrase what's going on out here with orange and pink and purple? I mean, when we zoom out, which we'll do in a second, you'll even see what other parts of the country are dealing with in Colorado, which is red flag warnings. I mean, these colors, of course, always mean something. They're heat-related alerts in this case, but we normally wouldn't have a week-long stretch, a Monday through Friday stretch of heat-related alerts in the month of March. But here we are. Heat advisory stays in effect until 8 p.m. today, and extreme heat warning stays in effect until 8 p.m. on Saturday toward our local deserts. Here's that wider picture, and like I mentioned, off toward Colorado, we've got that red there indicating red flag warnings. So other parts of the U.S. dealing with not only very high heat, but also very good possibility of those red flag warnings, those fire weather danger alerts. Current temperatures out the door, mostly 50s. We've got 57 in Mira Mesa, 58 in El Cajon, 71 right now in Alpine. So warm overnight. Same goes for Palomar Mountain at 71 right now. 66 in Fallbrook and 60 in Del Mar. So there actually is quite a range. There's 50s, 60s, 70s. Depends on where you're at as to how mild that overnight stretch has been for you. Visibility is looking good. We originally expected that to be a bit of an issue. Looks like a couple spots are down to maybe 7-8 miles, but aside from that, those low clouds not causing much trouble out there. We still have another 45 minutes or so, though, until sunrise. These are your high temperatures for the country today. Remember, we started off the week with some very cold temperatures off toward the Midwest. Those temperatures are now warming up really nicely. Bismarck, North Dakota was in the single digits earlier this week, now going for 67. Chicago's 62, 87 for Lincoln, Nebraska, and 89 for El Paso. We in San Diego going for 83 today. I want to send things over to Vanessa Paz. She's checking in on how traffic is looking on our Friday morning commute.
Yeah, it's what I like to call a Friday light out there. In fact, this is a live look on the 5 in both directions right at Oceanside. Right, bottom right of your screen, that's the southbound drive as you exit Oceanside, headed towards Carlsbad. I'm happy to report that there are no major issues as you head out the door. Good news, especially if you got to get somewhere on time. This is what it looks like on the 5 in both directions right at Old Town Avenue. In fact, here's that drive headed northbound, parallel to the old Spay War building. and the right side is that northbound drive as you make your way towards Mission Bay. Meanwhile, it's still really dark and early. This is the 805 in both directions as you make your way out of the South Bay, headed northbound towards North Park and Mission Valley via the 805 North. All right, look out for a stalled car. This one on the 54 in the Center Divide over in the Paradise Hills, Bonita area on the 54 East right at Rio Drive. May set you back a little bit, but right now we're at steady speeds through that area. Let's go ahead and take a look at what the 5 and the 805 is dealing with. Average speeds of about 68, 71 miles per hour. So here's what you're dealing with if you're crossing onto Coronado in from Barrio Logan. 52 mile per hour speeds, a little bit of slowing once you get onto the base, but other than that, we're at steady speeds in the entire city of Coronado right now. 70 to 75 mile per hour speeds headed westbound in from the East County, and here's what it looks like, pretty similar coming in from the North County headed south. All right, let's go ahead and pull up those travel times. Green is what we'd like to see, and that's exactly what is happening on the 5 and the 805. We're at average speeds of about 65, 70 miles per hour. 3 to 7 minutes total to get you westbound in from the East County at last check. All right, let's go ahead and pull up those border wait times. It is 6:11. You got pretty easy going drive to get across from San Ysidro's port of entry, under an hour there, and about an hour 30, so a little slower coming across from Otay Mesa's port of entry this morning.